أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم جميعا إلى لقاء جديد من دروس اللغة العربية بين يديك. نعم، اليوم نبدأ بالوحدة الثالثة. نعم، نبدأ بالوحدة الثالثة يعني السكن. So we are starting with a second. So this is the third module. الوحدة الثالثة. A second. So a second means where people stay. Okay, homes. Okay, where people reside. A second. Second, where people live. A second. Now, so we have this conversation. هذا حوار بين أحمد وحسان. بين أحمد وحسان. So we have here العرض, demonstration. الحوار الأول, the first conversation. الحوار الأول, the first conversation. انظر, look carefully. واستمع, listen. وأعد, and repeat. So I'm going to go through the conversation, then I'll have two people to go on with the conversation. So Ahmad says, Assalamu alaikum. وحسان قال, وعليكم السلام. أين تسكن؟ أين تسكن؟ قال حسان, أسكن في حي المطار. في حي المطار. أسكن في حي المطار. وأين تسكن أنت؟ وأين تسكن أنت؟ قال أحمد, أسكن في حي الجامعة. أسكن في حي الجامعة. Then Hassan says, هل تسكن في بيت؟ هل تسكن في بيت؟ قال أحمد, نعم أسكن في بيت. قال أحمد, هل تسكن في بيت؟ قال حسان, لا أسكن في شقة أو في شقة. أسكن في شقة. قال أحمد, ما رقم شقتك؟ ما رقم شقتك؟ قال حسان, 5 أو 5. 5. ما رقم بيتك؟ قال أحمد, 9 أو 9. Okay. مرة أخرى, السلام عليكم. وعليكم السلام. أين تسكن؟ أسكن في حي المطار. وأين تسكن أنت؟ أسكن في حي الجامعة. هل تسكن في بيت؟ نعم أسكن في بيت. هل تسكن في بيت؟ لا أسكن في شقة. ما رقم شقتك؟ 5. ما رقم بيتك؟ أو ما رقم بيتك؟ 9. So what is the meaning of this conversation? So it says, Ahmad says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Ahmad asks, Aina teskunu, where do you live? Aina teskunu, where do you live? So if you meet anybody after meeting and greeting, what we've done for some weeks now, you have met the person, you have asked him his name, Masmuka, and all other questions. Then if you want to ask him, where do you live? Where do you stay? Takulu, you say, Aina teskunu. Aina teskunu, where do you live? Aina teskunu. So this is a vocabulary for you. After saying assalamu alaikum, kayfa haluka, and all that. So if you want to know where he lives, you say Aina teskunu. Then he will respond and say, Askunu, I live. Askunu, I live. Fi hayy al-matar. Hayy means quarters, okay? Quarters. Al-matar means airport. Matar is airport, okay? So we now have hayy and matar gives you airport quarters, okay? Askunu fi hayy al-matar. I live in the airport quarters, okay? Then wa aina teskunu anta, and when do you live? And where do you live? Wa aina, and where? Teskunu anta, where do you live? So Hassan is asking Ahmad. After telling him, Hassan responds. He says he lives in the airport quarters. And he also asked Ahmad where he lives. Then Ahmad responds. Ahmad says, Askunu fi hayy al-jami'a. I live in the university quarters. So he also lives in the quarters, fi hayy. So hayy is a vocabulary you need to keep. Hayy is what? Quarters. Okay, fi hayy al-jami'a. I live in the university quarters. And the Jamia is the university. Al-Jami'a, university. Wa Hassan, al teskunu fi baytin. So you can live in the quarters, but where do you live? There are different types of quarters. Some quarters, they will build them as skyscrapers or tall buildings, while some they will build them as houses. Okay? So he wants to know, Hassan wants to know the kind of quarter he lives. Okay? So he says, al teskunu fi baytin. Do you live in a house? Bait is a house. It could be one of the quarters, but it's a house. House meaning it is standing alone. You have bedrooms built. You have a few parcel of land as compound to yourself. Okay, so that's the definition of a house. Then it says, Naam, askunu fi baitin. So that is bait. Askunu fi baitin, I live in a house. Then Ahmad asks, Al teskunu fi baitin. Do you also live in a house in that quarters? Then he says, La, no. Askunu fi shaqqa. Shaqqa is an apartment. Okay? So you have a bait is house, shaqqa is apartment. So apartment is where you have maybe, it could be a tall building, it could be small buildings, but you don't have the luxury of having a compound to yourself, just a few rooms. So that is shaqqa in Arabic. Shaqqa is different from bait. Okay? Then Ahmad says, Ma raqmu shaqqatika. What is the number of your apartment? What is the number of your apartment? Then he says, Khamsa, it is 5. Ma raqmu baytika, what's your house number? Okay? Then he says, Tisa, 9. Marratan ukhra. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Aina teskunu, where do you live? Askunu fi hayy al-matar. I live in the airport quarters. Hayy al-matar, airport quarters. Wa aina teskunu anta, where do you live? And where do you live? Wa. And where do you live? Qala Ahmad. Askunu fi hayy al-jami'a. I live in the university quarters. Hayy al-jami'a. Hal teskunu fi baytin, do you live in a house? Na'am, askunu fi baytin, I live in a house. Hal teskunu fi baytin? La, askunu fi shaqqa, I live in an apartment. Ma raqmu shaqqatika, what's your apartment number? Hassan says, Khamsa, it is 5. Okay, apartment number 5. Ma raqmu baytika, what's your house number? Ahmad said, Tisa, house number 9. Okay. Now, so let's have 2 people have this conversation quickly before we move on to the next. So if you want to participate, as usual, you know what to do. So let's have Sister Naimat and Sister Sharifa have this conversation. So Sister Naimat, Sister Naimat, you are Ahmad, and Sister Sharifa, you are Hassan. No, Tafaddola.
Wa alaikum salam.
So usually, apologies. Usually what we do is that before you start the conversation, we've learned something about meeting and greeting, okay? So you meet, you greet, you ask about each other's, at least, say, Kaifa haluka. These are the things we've learned, so we need to put them to use. So when you meet people, these are the few words you say. So let's do a quick revision. So you say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You ask for their name. So you pretend you don't know her name. So ask for her name and ask for how she's doing, Kaifa haluki or Kaifa haluka, before you start the conversation, okay? So have this simple conversation before you move on. Is that clear?
Yes. Yes.
Now greet before you start this conversation. Now.
Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum salam.
ما اسمك؟
اسمي شريفة.
نعم. واسمي نعمة. كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله.
Good. So you can now start.
أين تسكن؟
أسكن في حي المطار.
وأين تسكن أنت؟
No, Hassan is the one asking this question.
وأين تسكن أنت؟
Okay.
No, don't worry about the ant. Excuse me, don't worry about the anta and auntie for now, okay? Just read what you have here. Okay?
وأين تسكن أنت؟
أسكن في حي الجامعة.
هل تسكن في بيت؟
نعم. أسكن في بيت.
هل تسكن في
هل تسكن في بيت؟
لا، أسكن في شقة.
ما رقم شقتك؟
5. ما رقم بيتك؟
9.
Now, Jamil, can you have the conversation again?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
ما اسمك أنت؟
أسكن في حي المطار. وأين تسكن أنت؟
ما اسمك أنت؟ ما اسمك؟ اسمي.
هل تسكن في بيت؟
نعم asking of your name. ما اسمك؟
She's asking you a question.
What's your name?
أوكي، اسمي شريفة.
نعم واسمي نعمة. كيف أنت؟
بخير والحمد لله.
أين تسكن؟
أسكن في حي المطار. وأين تسكن أنت؟
أسكن في حي الجامعة.
هل تسكن في بيت؟
نعم أسكن. هل تسكن في بيت؟
لا، أسكن في.
ما رقم شقتك؟
5. ما رقم بيتك؟
9.
Jamil Jiddan, shukran. So that's a very good conversation. A minute, let me do a quick check. Okay, so one of the things I do when having classes is I try to introduce as early as possible the pronouns and the gender into the conversation, okay? So once you understand the passage, it is essential you also understand when to use those pronouns so that you do not forget. Now, I know when you're talking to a man, You say aina teskunu. Aina teskunu. When we are talking to a lady, you say aina teskunina. Okay, it's very simple. I introduce it as soon as possible so that you can get used to it. So you say aina teskunina. That's for a lady. Okay. Aina teskunu. If you are talking to a lady, you say aina teskunina. Okay. Wa aina teskunina anti. So anta becomes anti. Okay. Now, I will keep introducing one after the other. Okay. So let's have two brothers have this conversation as well. Let's have Brother Abdul Hamid and Abu Abdullah, the surah, quickly. So you greet each other, ask about each other's welfare, well-being before you move on.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
ما اسمك يا أخي؟
اسمي عبد الحميد. ما اسمك؟ ما اسمك؟
اسمي أبو عبد الله. كيف حالك؟
بالخير الحمد لله. وكيف حالك؟
بالخير الحمد لله.
بخير, not بالخير. Avoid the lam, not بالخير. بخير, بخير, والحمد لله.
بخير والحمد لله.
كيف صوتي؟
بخير الحمد لله.
ما شاء الله.
So you can start the conversation.
أين تسكن؟
أسكن في حي مطار. وأنت تسكن أنت.
No, this is not. Look at it carefully.
Yes.
Wa aina.
Okay.
Do you have your textbook with you?
Yeah, I have it.
Wa aina.
وأين تسكن أنت؟
أسكن في أي المطار، في أي الجامعة.
هل تسكن في البيت؟
في بيت.
نعم أسكن
تسكن
في
في بيت.
بيت.
There's no alif or lam there. There's no alif and lam. Al teskunu fi baitin.
هل تسكن في البيت؟
نعم أسكن في بيت.
بسم الله.
هل تسكن في البيت؟
لا أسكن في الشقة.
ما معنى شقة؟
apartment.
نعم جميل.
ما رقم شقتك؟
شقتي تي كسرة. ما رقم شقتك؟
ما رقم شقتك؟
5. ما رقم بيتك؟
9.
Can you have the conversation this time around faster? Be as fast as you can. Okay.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
ما اسمك؟
اسمي عبد الحميد. وما اسمك؟
اسمي أبو عبد الله. كيف حالك؟
بخير الحمد لله. وكيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. أين تسكن؟
أسكن في حي مطار. وأنت تسكن أنت. وأين أسكن أنت؟
أسكن في حي الجامعة.
هل تسكن في البيت؟
في بيت.
نعم.
There's no alif wa lam there. في بيت. هل تسكن في بيت؟ في بيت. في بيت.
هل تسكن في بيت؟
نعم أسكن في بيت. هل تسكن في بيت؟
لا أسكن في شقة.
ما رقم شقتك؟
5. ما رقم بيتك؟
9.
نعم جميل شكرا. نعم شكرا. نعم ننتقل إلى الحوار الثاني، وهو حوار بين المستأجر this is another vocabulary مستأجر والمؤجر. مستأجر بمعنى tenant. المستأجر, that's the tenant, someone who rents an apartment. Okay. Then we have al-mu'ajjiru. 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 We said that al-mu'ajjiru. That is the landlord. Okay. That is or the leaser, someone who leases. Okay. Mustajir is someone wants to lease, and mu'ajjir is someone who leases. So it says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Uridu shaqqa. So by now you know the meaning of shaqqa. Uridu shaqqatan. Or uridu shaqqa. Min fadlik. Uridu shaqqa min fadlik. Al-Mu'ajjir says, Ladayna shaqqatun jamilatun. Ladayna shaqqatun jamila. Or jamilatun. Qala al-Musta'jir. Kam gurfatan. كم غرفة في الشقة؟ كم غرفة في الشقة؟ في الشقة 5 غرف. 5 غرف. في الشقة 5 غرف. 5 غرف. المستأجر في أي دور الشقة؟ في أي دور الشقة؟ قال المؤجر الشقة في الدور الخامس. في أي دور الشقة؟ قال الشقة في الدور الخامس. أريد مشاهدة الشقة. أريد مشاهدة أريد مشاهدة الشقة. المؤجر تفضل. المؤجر هذه هي شقة. هذه هي شقة. By now you know why we are using هذه and here with شقة. هذه هي شقة. هذه شقة جميلة. مرة أخرى. السلام عليكم وعليكم السلام. أريد شقة من فضلك. لدينا شقة جميلة. كم غرفة في الشقة؟ ولا في الشقة 5 غرف. 5 غرف. في أي دور الشقة؟ قال الشقة في الدور الخامس. أريد مشاهدة الشقة. تفضل. هذه هي شقة. هذه شقة جميلة. Now, what is the meaning? It says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. Uridu shaqqa. I need an apartment. So the lender, the tenant, musta'jir, meets a leaser, a landlord, someone who leases an apartment, and he says, Uridu shaqqa. I need an apartment. Min fadlik. Min fadlika means please. Okay, if you say something and you put min fadlik, it means please. So this means I need an apartment, please. Min fadlika, please. Uridu shaqqatan min fadlik. I need an apartment, please. Okay. Ladayna shaqqatun jamilatun. Ladayna, we have, with us, or we have. Ladayna, we have shaqqatun jamilatun. We have a very beautiful apartment, or a beautiful apartment. Ladayna shaqqatun jamilatun. We have a beautiful apartment. Then al-Musta'jir then asks, Kam gurfatan, how many rooms? Kam gurfatan, how many rooms? In English, we say rooms, but in Arabic, you say room. Gurfa is singular. So if we were to translate this word for word, it means how many rooms. But in English, we don't say how many rooms, we add an S. How many rooms? So this is not the plural of rooms. But in English, it is translated like that. Kam gurfatan fi shaqqa. How many rooms do you have in the shaqqa, in the apartment? Al-Mu'ajir then says, fi shaqqa, in the apartment, khamsu gurafin, we have 5 rooms. Khamsu gurafin, 5 rooms. Then he says, fi ayyi dawrin, in what floor or on which floor? A shaqqa is the apartment. Okay, your dawr is floor. Dawr is floor. So it's asking, in which floor is the apartment? Fi ayyi dawrin, in which floor? A shaqqa is the apartment. Then it says, a shaqqatu, the apartment, fi dawr al-khamis, is on the 5th floor. Fi dawr al-khamis is on the 5th floor. Okay? Al-Mustajir then says, Uridu mushahadata. I want to see. Uridu, I want to. Anytime you need something, you can say Uridu. Uridu, I need something. Uridu, I need. Uridu shay'an, I need something. Uridu mushahadata, I want to see. Ashaqqa, I want to see the apartment. Then the Muajir says, Tafaddal, please. So Tafaddal and min fadlik means what? Please. Tafaddal, Tafaddal means please. When anyone says Tafaddal, it means please. And mostly it's used for on a variety of occasions. If someone wants something and say, can I have something? You can say, Tafaddal, oh, please, you can have it. So it's a frequently used word. Then the Muajir says, Hadihi hiya shaqqa. After showing him the apartment, it's now said, this is the apartment. Then the man says, Hadihi shaqqatun jamilatun. This is a beautiful apartment. Marratan ukhra. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Uridu shaqqa. I need an apartment in Fadlik, please. Ladayna shaqqatun jamila. We have a beautiful apartment. Kam gurfatan fi shaqqa. How many rooms do you have in the apartment? Fi shaqqa, in the apartment, khamsu gurafin. We have 5 rooms. Fi ayyi dawrin ashaqqa. In what floor is the apartment? Ashaqqatu fi dawr al-khamis. It's in the what? 5th floor. Uridu mushahadata shaqqa. I want to see the apartment. Tafaddal, let's go. Oh, please. Hadihi hiya shaqqa. This is the apartment. The musta'ajir, the tenant says, Hadihi shaqqatun jamilatun. It's a beautiful apartment. So let's have 2 people have this conversation bisura. Let's have who wants to read this time around? Let's have Abdul Rahman and Sister Halima. So Abdul Rahman, you are the musta'ajir, al-musta'ajir, the tenant.
No.
And Sister Halima, you are the al-mu'ajir. So you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Ustaz,
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I have a question, please, before we move on.
Please go ahead.
Uridu shaqqata min fadlika. You say fadlika, yes, please.
Yes.
And tafaddal is please too.
Yes. So if you look at the root of the word, they come from fadl, faf, dod, and lam. So they mean basically things.
No.
So you are the mustajir, Abdul Rahman, then al-mu'ajir is Salim. So greet yourself first, ask about each other's well-being before you move on. Use some of the things we've learned.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ismi Maryam wa masmuk.
Ismi Alimat.
Kaifa ahlika? Kaifa ahlik?
Bihayri walhamdulillah. Kayfa aluk?
Alhamdulillah.
Now, let's start.
Assalamu alaikum again from the top.
You can start from there. You can just start from.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
You greeted each other already.
Wa alaikum salam.
Uridu shaqqa min fadlik.
Ladayna shaqqa jamila.
كم غرفة في الشقة؟
كم
في
غرفة
شقة
كم غرفة
كم غرفة في الشقة؟
في شقة 5 غرفة.
خمس
في أي
خمس غرف
في شقة 5 غرفة.
غرف
في أي دور
غرف. So the غرف is the plural. غرف is the plural of غرفة. غرفتun or غرفة is a room. Then غرف is the
singular.
plural, which is the rooms. في
نعم.
شقة خمس غرف. Say غرف.
غرف. في شقة 5 غرف.
نعم.
في أي دور الشقة؟
الشقة في دور 5 أمزي.
في الدور الخامس. في الدور الخامس. Say that. في الدور
الدور الخامس.
الخامس. Again.
في الدور الخامس.
Again.
الشقة في الدور الخامس.
نعم.
أريد مشاهدة الشقة.
تفضل.
So مؤجر. Go ahead. Sister Lima, you are the muajir. You are showing her the
هذه هي الشقة.
هذه شقة جميلة.
Jamil Jiddan. So that's a good conversation. So have it again and correct the mistakes. Just start from Uridu Shakka.
مي أي أريد الشقة من فضلك. من فضلك.
لدينا شقة جميلة.
كم غرفة في الشقة؟
في الشقة 5 غرف.
في أي دور الشقة؟
الشقة في دور 5.
الدور الخامس. الدور الخامس.
الدور الخامس.
أريد مشاهدة. أريد مشاهدة.
تفضل.
أريد مشاهدة.
I think there's a lag there. Abdraman has not asked you. She wants to.
Yes, I'm waiting to ask.
Okay.
أريد مشاهدة الشقة.
تفضل. هذه هي شقة.
Abdraman.
هذه شقة جميلة.
Naam Jamil. That's a good conversation. So, shukran lakum. So we have, we move on to the next. So we've learned some vocabularies, I hope. So we move on to the next, the surah. So we have this conversation, al-hiwar al-thalith. Third conversation is unzur wastami wa'id. So هذا المشتري. Mushtari means buyer. Okay, mushtari means the buyer. Al-ba'i' means the seller. So we have the buyer and the seller. هذا حوار بين المشتري والبائع. So we have this conversation between al-mushtari, the buyer, wal-ba'i' and the seller. Okay, so it's apparent. Usually the buyer carrying the bag, he has the money with him, and the seller will get the bag from him. So ماذا حدث? What happened? It says, Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Okay. Ayya khidma. Ayya khidma means, can I be of service? Ayya khidmatin. Or ayya khidma. Can I be of service? Any service? Can I be of any service to you? So if you walk into a store, any store, the attendant will walk up to you and ask you, Ayya khidmatin. So it is the attendant, the seller, that will walk up to you and say, welcome, ahlan wa sahlan, ayya khidmatin. Ayya khidmatin means, can I be of any service to you? Then the mushtari says, Uridu ba'd al-athath. Uridu ba'd al-athath. I need some furniture. Ba'da means some. Ba'da means some. I need some. Al-athaf. Al-athaf is furniture. Uridu ba'da al-athaf. I need some furniture. Al-athaf, the man of furniture. Okay? Then the third one says, that is the seller. Al-bayim, the seller says, Mada turidu, the gurufati naumi. Gurufa, by now we know the meaning of gurufa means room, and naum means sleep. Okay? Gurufatu naum means bedroom. So you can see that one of the things we mentioned at the inception of this class is that no language is a direct translation of another language. Okay? So in Arabic, we call the bedroom Gurufatu naum. Gurufa, we know the meaning of gurufa. Gurufa is room, and naum is sleep. If we were to translate this literally, we say Gurufatu naum, the sleeping room. But in English, there's nothing called sleeping room. What we say it was bedroom. So why is bed not used alongside this? So in Arabic, we also don't say Gurufatu serir, okay? We say Gurufatu naum, okay? So Gurufatu naum. Mother turidu, the Gurufati naum. What do you need? Turidu, you already know. Turidu, the Gurufati naum, for the bedroom. Then the al-mushtari, the buyer says, Uridu seriron, I need the bed. Serir is a bed. Wasitarotan, and cotton. Okay, this is the bed, serir. And you can see the cotton, sitaro. You can see the cotton, sitaro. Uridu seriron wasitarotan. And I need some cottons or cottons. Okay. Then Bayon says, Mada turidu li gurufati li julus. Okay. Mada turidu li gurufati julus. What do you need? For gurufa, this is room. Julus, sitting. So this matches sitting room. Julus is sitting. Mada turidu li gurufati